Alright, well, fans, joining me at this time, Snarl General Manager Hangman Tex Lynch, and Ladies Triple Crowner Liberty Belt Danielle Heathcote, and you too, mired in quite a bit of controversy, courtesy of Miss Jody Vorick, who's issued a challenge for a Hell in a Cell match with Danielle. So where do you guys stand on this situation at the present time?
It's like I told Johnny the other night. If the match committee voted to okay this match, I'm all the way in. I knew when Jody Dvorak got that briefcase, that contract. I knew she was coming after me sooner or later. I want to make sure she never wants another match with me ever again.
The only thing that's left now is for the match committee to vote on it, and, well, everybody's kind of split on the matter. A lot of people don't want this cell match, and some people do. Well, the vote will be happening soon. We'll find out soon enough.
Alright, coming up next, Tag Team Action. This is going to be a good one. Mid-South Champion Billy White Moon and Jim Dandy Deacons, Best of the West, set to go up against Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, The Revival, along with Too Short Popeye Scott Bell. Yeah, we know. Scott Bell. Lovely. Starting to already ruin things.
The next tag team match, 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. Team 1, accompanied by the Lone Star Superstar Tex McKenzie, at a combined weight of 485 pounds, RWL Mid-South Champion Billy White Moon and Jim Dandy Deacons, Best of the West.
And hey, obviously I wish Best of the West the best of luck going up against The Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder and Too Short Popeye, and you know how I feel about him.
See that, Tex?
See what, Tex?
You were mad enough at Scott Bell, and you hated him bad enough to do that cell match against him last year. You can't possibly say you don't understand why I want to do this. I'm gonna end this thing with Jody for good this time.
Yeah, but you got so much to think about. You got 3 championships you gotta deal with.
Plus, you got a tag team partner that relies on you.
Their opponents, accompanied by Too Short Popeye Scott Bell, at a combined weight of 445 pounds, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, The Revival.
More garbage dug out of the trash can by Too Short Popeye, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, The Revival. Big deal. Like they ever made a mark anywhere they've ever been. Nonetheless, I expect it's going to prove an impressive encounter between them and Best of the West.
Oh, well, hell yeah, I think so too. Best of the West, well, they're my favorites to win this match because, well, as Myron points out, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder haven't really been great shakes at much of anything they have ever done, have they? Hey, Myron, say it.
Oh, yeah, right. Here. Most people throw it out. Scott Bell takes it into his stable. Garbage.
Absolutely love that, Myron.
I've already taken all these things into account. I know it's gonna hurt. I saw what happened between Tex and Scott last year. I saw Dr. Beverly's ban the cell video from last year too. I'm aware of the risks, and maybe this will be the one that bans the cell match in RWL for good.
You know, Tex, I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, as I understand it, the entire match committee is going to vote on this matchup prior to the next edition of Snarl. That includes both general managers, Colin O'Toole, the CEO, and all the members of the match committee included. That includes you too, Myron, doesn't it? You get a vote as well, right? Yeah, that's right, I do get a vote. I'm not going to say what it is, because I haven't really made up my mind yet. I don't know what I'm going to vote when the time comes.
Trust me, I'm not scared of Jody.
You know you're not.
I am concerned about this match causing me to not be at 100% for title defenses. That scares me more than the cell or Jody Dvorak.
Well, the vote's going to be held tomorrow, so we will know by Snarl in Yokohama on March 8th whether or not there's even going to be a Hell in a Cell match between Jody Dvorak and Liberty Bell Danielle.
Boy, if there is, I'm afraid I hope you two don't kill each other, for God's sake. Well, it's our first tag team matchup of the night, and it certainly is going to be a dandy. Jim Dandy Deacons starting us off here with Dash Wilder beginning for The Revival. The bell sounds, they lock up. Jim Dandy Deacons goes behind, rear waist lock. Dash Wilder counters and takes Deacons down into a headlock and a hard right to the head of Jim Deacons. Deacons misses with the elbow, gets taken down in a neckbreaker drop. Dash Wilder rounds him up. Fireman's carry by Jim Deacons. Deacons catches a jawbreaker. Dash Wilder whips into his team's corner. He rebounds out, catches a cheap shot from Scott Dawson. Taken down, drop toe hold. Dash Wilder catches an arm drag from Jim Deacons. Deacons setting him up for a pile driver and nails it. Dash Wilder caught all of that pile driver from Jim Dandy Deacons. Too short Popeye Scott Bell watching at his side. Deacons steps out. Here comes Billy White Moon, the Mid-South champion. Swings on Dash Wilder, catches a kick to the midsection. Drives a knee right into the head of Dash Wilder. Billy White Moon with another knee into the head of Wilder. Billy White Moon whips him into the far corner, fails to connect with the knee that time. Catches Wilder, throws him into another corner, gets caught up. Dash Wilder quick with the counter, has him up. Knee breaker. Dash Wilder dragging Billy White Moon towards the Revival's corner. Here comes Scott Dawson. And Scott Dawson rounds up White Moon. White Moon with a back body drop on Scott Dawson. Dawson quickly counters with a kick to the leg of Billy White Moon. Has him up into a backbreaker. Scott Dawson rounds him up again, takes him down. White Moon rounds up Scott Dawson. Whips him into the Best of the West corner. Here comes Jim Dandy Deacons, and here comes a double team from Best of the West. Look at this. Jim Dandy Deacons with a leg drop. Hung up over the shoulder of Billy White Moon. Talk about tandem wrestling here. Scott Dawson counters. Slams Jim Dandy Deacons face down into the canvas. Deacons whip to the Revival's corner. Counters and escapes the corner. Deacons whips Scott Dawson to his team's corner. Scott Dawson counters. Billy White Moon catches him with a kick. And a blind tag. Here comes Billy White Moon. Drives a knee into the midsection of Scott Dawson. He did not see the blind tag and was certainly not expecting Billy White Moon to come barreling towards him that way. White Moon with a stomp to the lower abdomen of Scott Dawson. Dawson counters with a jawbreaker. Catches a cheap shot from Dash Wilder and down he goes. Scott Dawson pummeling right hands on the head of Billy White Moon. White Moon is laid out. Here comes Dash Wilder on the tag. Too short Popeye Scott Bell. Certainly liking what he sees. Billy White Moon quickly back to his feet. Rounds up Dash Wilder. Wilder whip to the corner. Best of the West corner. Counters and escapes. Goes after Jim Dandy Deacons. Not a wise idea. Another blind tag. Here comes Jim Dandy. Dash Wilder ready for him with a couple of shots. Jim Dandy counters. Dash Wilder counters. Dash Wilder countered by Jim Dandy into a neckbreaker. Jim Dandy Deacons doing a little bit of showing off here. Jim Dandy Deacons rubbing rights across the back of the head of Dash Wilder. Dash Wilder counters with a DDT. Face first into the mat. Goes Jim Dandy. Jim whipped into the corner of the Revival, countering and escaping. Scott Dawson there to hang him up over the top rope. With both opponents, both legal men in the ring, inactive at the moment, all of a sudden everybody's back on their feet. Jim Dandy with a vertical suplex on Dash Wilder. Dash rounded back up. And Jim Dandy with a series of jabs. Little fancy footwork and boom, double shot right to the chest. And here comes Too Short Popeye Scott Bell. Protesting Jim Dandy's actions. And all he's doing is fighting it fair and square. Dash Wilder whips Jim Dandy to the Revival's corner, tags in Scott Dawson. And here comes a double team from the Revival. Look at this. Wilder winds up the leg and Scott Dawson delivers the stomp to the midsection. Jim Dandy counters with a kick. Scott Dawson pitches him up over onto the apron. Scott Dawson gonna bring Jim Dandy back in the hard way vertical suplex. Dawson rounds up Deacons. Swing and a miss. Jim Dandy gonna take advantage of that with a stomp to the midsection. Scott Dawson whips Jim Dandy out onto the apron. Decides discretion's the better part of valor. Tags in Dash Wilder. Dash Wilder with a hard right. Jim Dandy whipped to the far corner. Dash Wilder charges clothesline. Takes down Jim Dandy Deacons down to the canvas. Dash Wilder rounds up Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy counters. Elbows to the side of the head of Dash Wilder. Wilder whip to his team's corner. Counter. Dash Wilder whips Jim Dandy to the Revival's corner. And here comes Scott Dawson on the tag. Here comes another double team from the Revival. Off the ropes goes Jim Dandy and into a back suplex from Scott Dawson. And at the moment, the Revival currently in control of Best of the West in this matchup. Jim Dandy, back body drop on Scott Dawson. Dawson gathered up, arm drag from Scott Dawson. Dawson rounds up Jim Dandy, perches him against the ropes. And look at this, the bums rush out onto the apron. And a hard right, a kick, another right, another kick, another right. And back in the ring comes Jim Dandy Deacons. Deacons counters with a clubbing right. It takes Scott Dawson down. Here comes Billy White Moon. The Mid-South champion moves in on Scott Dawson, swing and a miss. Scott Dawson seizing the moment here, but look at this. Billy White Moon counters with a knee to the head. Into the sleeper. Billy White Moon with the Indian sleeper on Scott Dawson. The referee, what that is it? Scott Dawson says that's it. Referee says good night. Best of the West defeating the Revival by submission. How about this right here?
The time was 7 minutes and 56 seconds. Your winners, by submission, Best of the West.
That was great, you guys. Thanks for letting me hang out, but I've got this Joyce Grable title defense I'd better get ready for, and I guess we'll see what happens with Jody and that whole mess.
Yeah, all right, well, good luck, little lady. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Oh, well, kudos to Best of the West. I knew they wouldn't disappoint me.
Indeed, Best of the West. Scoring a submission win over the Revival. Billy White Moon, the breakout star of Best of the West, doing it one more time with a submission win over Scott Dawson.
So what did you expect? They were wrestling garbage. There he goes again with that garbage. Myron, you are the best.
All right, folks. That takes care of our first tag team match of the evening. I'm sure there'll be more later on, but there's a lot more action ahead. Don't you go anywhere.